Hello everybody, welcome back to the Des Moines Bicycle Collective's video series. Geir, one of the shop mechanics here, and just want to talk to you a little bit about winter maintenance. 4 good habits to get into to make sure your bike stays in good functioning order during this fantastic weather we've had. So it's been sub-zero, but it has not kept everyone off the bike. Some people still have a daily commute, or some people just enjoy riding in the cold weather. Riding in this type of weather does come with certain consequences. Those are snow melt, salt on the roads, and then your usual grit and grime that is usually there. They are damaging to your bike because they work their way into the moving parts, displacing lubricants and creating the beginnings for rust, which when it comes to moving parts is not good. As far as brakes are concerned, they will coat your braking surfaces and your pads, decreasing braking efficiency. So 4 good steps to get into when it comes to bicycle maintenance is: step 1, keep your bicycle inside if at all possible. Step 2, keep your chain clean and greased, lubricated. Step 3, clean your braking surfaces, braking pads, and check for proper functionality. And step 4 is dealing with salt buildup when you can. It's just gonna be salty out there. So starting with step 1, if at all possible, it is ideal to keep your bicycle inside when you are finished riding it in this weather. That might be in a garage or a basement, or maybe even your apartment if you have to, if it's your only place to store it. Before the bike goes into any of those places, it is a good habit to get into removing excess snow before it comes inside. You're just going to get ahead of the snow melt and create less mess. The second step in the 4 is keeping your chain clean and lubricated. So this is best to do as often as you can, before you leave, when you get back, but at the very least once a week. So every once a week, at least, you want to be checking your chain for stretch. They make a handy little tool for just that. It is available for sale here at the Collective for $12. Fairly intuitive tool to use. If it's not something you're familiar with, definitely let us know. We're happy to include a video in its use and reasonings for. So you've used your chain checker to determine whether or not our chain is stretched. If it is not, fantastic. We're going to go ahead to cleaning your chain. So the aforementioned dangers of riding in this weather are salt, moisture, grit, and grime. And before we lubricate our chain, we want to remove those impurities. They make a specific brush for that, a little chain scrubber like this. It's going to be 3-sided bristles or more. 3-sided bristles will remove the impurities from your chain that you want removed. If you don't have one of these and you don't want to buy one, a toothbrush will suffice. If you don't have an extra toothbrush, or you just don't want to use one, at the very least, use a rag. Get rid of what you can, just to make sure that when we do lubricate it, there is less grit in there that's going to crunch around and make an unhealthy chain. So our chain, we have determined, is not stretched. It's clear for use. We have cleaned the chain of road impurities. Next is going to be lubrication of the chain. They make an assortment of chain lubricants. Riding in the winter with the wet conditions, they usually will recommend a wet lubricant. There are different brands of wet lubricants. We use a Tri-Flow. It's part cleaner and lubricant in the wet variety, so it's going to stay on your chain longer in the wet and keep it lubricated as well. Step 3 in the 4 is brakes. Again, what we know about riding in this weather, we will accumulate buildup on our braking surfaces and our pads, decreasing our overall braking effectiveness. We all understand the importance of braking, especially in these winter wet months. So we want to make sure that they are clean and braking as effectively as possible. So this is something that you want to do about as similarly as when you clean the chain. After each bicycle use, do this, but at the very least, again, once a week. So when you are looking at your brakes, it is best to remove your wheels from the frame, and you will want to clean off your braking surfaces. Tools needed, a rag, like so, and a bottle of isopropyl alcohol, rubbing alcohol, or like a simple green degreaser. And you will want to spray onto the rag, and if you're working with a rim brake, clean off the rim itself on either side. If you are working with a disc brake, you will want to do the same to the rotor. Again, just cleaning off impurities picked up from the road to make sure that our pads, when they grip the rim, grip it as effectively as possible. So our rim surfaces have been cleaned. The next thing we want to look at is our brake pads themselves. The brake pads being rubber, they will attract metal and glass. So they're easier to look at when the wheel is off. So after you've cleaned off your rims, take a look at your pads, and if you do see metal or glass, you remove them with either a tweezers or some other sharp pointed object. If you do not remove them, braking with those impurities embedded in your brake pad will increase the rate of wear on your braking surface and just lead to replacements down the line. The last thing you will want to do is just check for even brake actuation. We want to make sure that when we pull our lever, our brakes are actuating evenly and without drag. They're not sticking as they come back or anything. The line is smooth, it is lubricated, and our brakes are working well. Lastly, of the 4 habits is salt removal. Again, understanding that salt buildup can lead to rust, and rust is bad. We want to do what we can to remove salt from our bike when we can. The most convenient way to do this is if you have access to a bike bath or a hose. The former we do have here at the Bicycle Collective. We have a bike bath that is at present available to members if you should need it. But if you are one that does not have access to a bath or a hose, what I have done is taken a sprayer, fill it with water, cover or put a towel underneath your bike and just spray the crap out of it. It's not going to be quite as effective as a hose would be, but it is removing some salt buildup, which is the goal. Just in quick summation, the 4 good habits to get into are keeping your bicycle inside, keeping your chain clean and lubricated, keeping your brake surfaces clean, your brake pads clean and working, and removing salt buildup when you can. If you take care of all those 4 steps, you should be one step closer to a well-functioning bike for the winter. Thanks for watching. Tune in next time.